Hey folks, I'm just checking in for this week. This is the week of October 2nd through the 8th, I believe. And so I just want to go ahead and check in. And in addition to giving you guys like a description of the assignments for this week, I'm also going to provide a few reminders in this video as well about the course calendar and just a few other things as well. So if you feel like you need any clarification about anything that's going on for this week, definitely listen to the remainder of this video, please. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So if we jump over real quick to the course information, as a reminder, this is where our schedule is going to be for the entire semester. So I reminded you of this in the virtual orientation video, which hopefully all you guys have already watched. But if you haven't watched that, definitely go watch it. I think that I've gotten a lot of questions here recently that have been answered in the virtual orientation already. So please watch that if you have not already watched it. There's a lot of good clarifying information there about assignments and due dates and attendance and all of that. So if we go down to our course schedule here, we are on our week 4 technically. So this is the biggest question I got last week, because up until this point, all the modules have been like on a weekly basis, but typically what I do is there's 8 modules and this is a 13-week class. So some weeks we're going to be on the same module for more than just like the week that we start on. So this is one of those examples where last week we had the Edpuzzles lessons 3 through 5, and we had the line drawing discussion. Now, because everything is on adaptive release, we have the other half of our module assignments for module 2 that won't open until this week. So now today, Monday, the 2nd, you should be able to access the remainder of the assignments. And then the line drawing discussion will have disappeared. So that's what adaptive release means. It just essentially is that so you don't work ahead and that you can't submit assignments past the due date. So once an assignment closes, it is no longer visible. And before an assignment opens, it is not visible. So for this week, we have got our color theory discussion, our outline, and quiz 2 that'll be due. So those will all be open today. And the Edpuzzles, they'll stay open as long as the lesson is open. As long as the module is open. So you can go back and look at those if you want to. But the assignments will not be like that. They will only open for the week that they are due. All right. So let's jump over to the modules real quick. We jump into module 2 here. Additionally, too, I just want to put this reminder there as well. When you have things that are due for the week, I give you 3 places to look for the assignment due dates. We've got the course information that we just came from, the module page, which is like sometimes it's not visible, but if you've got like a little arrow right there and it's just showing you this, just click the little arrow and it gives you a synopsis of what is in the module that you're about to open. I also include the due dates down here at the bottom. So like for this week, module 2 quiz, the color assignment, and the art analysis are all due on the 8th, whereas the lessons 3 through 5 Edpuzzle and the line drawing discussion were due on the 1st. So that will also remind you as well. And it's also helpful because it just lets you know what each of the lessons kind of goes over before you watch the Edpuzzle. So once we click into here, I'm on the instructor view, so I have everything visible to me. Let's look at the quiz first. So this is going to be our quiz on lessons 3 through 5. You've already had a quiz in module 1 due, so this is no different than that. Please remember you only have 1 attempt per quiz. There's 20 minutes to take the quiz, and unless you have accommodations. And do not click away from the quiz page. Obviously, you're online, so I am not able to verify whether or not you're using your notes or not. But I will say that I have had people run into the issue of clicking away to like another slide or another page and it logging them out or saving their attempt thus far into the quiz. So if that happens to you, I'll know that you're not on the quiz page. You're clicking around other areas that have booted you out of the quiz. And after completing the quiz, this is going to be very helpful as well. So once you click on the quiz It'll ask you to begin it when you first start it, but after you've attempted it, you can go back into it and click begin again, and it'll ask you to like review your past attempts. And so you can get your answers from your quiz that way, which is really great. And also, just right after you finish the quiz, if you want to review, it gives you the option as well. Now, remember that, again, in virtual orientation, I let you know this as well, but at the end of this course, when we have our final exam, part 2 of the final exam is just repeat quiz questions. So I'm just pulling like the lowest scored questions from the 8 quizzes that'll be in each of our modules and reusing those again. So it would be a very wise idea, smart idea to write down the correct answers to use for a study guide for yourself later on. Now, we're not using every single one of the questions. So if like you know the answer is, you know, a certain thing for a question, then don't worry about writing that down. But if you miss ones or like you feel like you might forget an answer, write those down. Keep those, like create your own study guide and just have that to work from later on. And, you know, so you're not trying to like remember and go back and look at the quizzes because they won't be open at the end of the semester. All right, the line or the color discussion. There's 2 parts to this, and I want to clarify something because I ran into something this semester actually with the color assignment that was a little bit weirder from what I've had before. So the discussion, again, this requires you to respond to a classmate, and I'll get specifically into how I want you to respond to one in just a second. So the first thing that you're going to do is either print off or color in, like, or draw on your own blank color wheel. So I don't want you to like print off or submit a color wheel that has already been filled out for you. I want you to either draw a circle and make the 12 wedges and put in your colors there, or just print off like a blank template like this one, but not one that already has the colors in it, because I'm obviously not going to give you credit for that. And then I want you to fill it in. Remember, there are 12 colors on the color wheels. So I want you to accurately place the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. There are 3 primaries, 3 secondaries, and 6 tertiary colors to make 12. And then once you complete the color wheel, you'll just need to take a picture of it and then upload it to the discussion. The next part of the discussion is I want you to download this application called I Love Hue. It has also been called Blendoku, and there's also a HueDoku as well that you can use, but I Love Hue tends to work the best. Blendoku was my go-to for a really long time, and this year I realized that they did not renew their license for it, so it is not available in the App Store anymore. But I want you to play the I Love Hue game. If you do not have a cell phone that can download applications, please let me know as soon as possible, like today, and I'll give you an alternate assignment to this. I want you to play for around 45 minutes and then take a screenshot of how far you get into the game, and then upload to the same thread. The third task, after you've included 2 pictures, so one of your color wheel and one of your screenshot of the I Love Hue game, you're going to reflect on your color exploration. What did you learn? And be sure to use at least 5 or two lesson 5 vocabulary terms. And this is specifically coming from the color lesson. This is not like general, just like anything from the module to Edpuzzles. This is specifically on color. You can talk about analogous color or any kind of color scheme. You can talk about primary, tertiary colors. You can talk about the moods that colors create, anything like that. But don't like pull in, you know, the negative space being used, because that's not relevant to what we're doing here. And then task 4 is to respond to one classmate in a meaningful way, and also use at least 2 vocabulary terms from lesson 5. The project 1 outline, that's our last assignment for this week. So no Edpuzzles, but we've got 3 kind of assignments that are due for this week. So project 1 is our art analysis assignment. The art analysis assignment is a big percentage of your grade. It's 15% of your grade. It acts as sort of like a midterm for the class. So I want you to make sure that you, know that when you're setting up your project outline, that this is going towards a bigger paper. Some reminders for this one: you do not need to submit your actual project to this link. This is just the outline. So please, for project one outline that is in module 2, you only need to submit the outline. Do not submit the actual paper to this link. It'll get really complicated later on. And then don't accidentally submit your outline to the project one submission in the projects folder. The link for it is in the project one outline in module 2. Do not go to the projects folder yet. You don't need to be in the projects folder for anything really. This cannot be Starry Night because I use this to talk about a lot of our concepts for our class. It cannot be an artwork that you have chosen in the past. And if you, yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't add your text as a comment. Don't add your text as a link, as always, and make sure that you are uploading your photos correctly. So for the outline, you're going to choose your artwork for project one analysis, like for your final version of this project. And your goal is to establish a basic outline that can further develop when writing your paper. Whatever artwork you choose for the outline, you have to stick with for the actual full assignment itself. So don't select one that you feel like you are wishy-washy about. Also, please provide the following information below to be as detailed as possible when answering the 5 questions. The art analysis for this course is viewing and analyzing an artwork in its environment virtually as the final assignment for art appreciation, or not the final assignment, sorry, that's not worded right, as the midterm for art appreciation. All other exercises and assignments have been building your observational analytical skills to arrive at this point. So remember, this is just an outline that you will develop to a further paper or full paper in the upcoming weeks. So what am I asking for you on this assignment? Identify your chosen artwork and analyze and list the title, medium, date, dimensions, and the museum location that it's located in, and include a high quality image of the artwork. Do not forget to include a high quality image of the artwork. But then you also need to create a label underneath that as well with the title, artist name, all of that. Then task 2, and this can be in like a list. You can be like, answer 1, this is what it is. Answer 2, this is what it is. Just list it out like that. Number 2, what are the 3 formal elements in the composition and how do you intend to discuss them? Please refer to lessons 3 through 6 from the formal elements and briefly describe how each of these 3 elements are used and point to the specific parts in the artwork. So this can be like space, form, or space, color, and value. Those are your 3 elements that you see prominently being used in an artwork to, help organize it. So be strategic about it. Don't just choose like 3 random elements that you remember the names of. Look at the actual painting itself or the sculpture or whatever it is and see if you can identify where those things are being used at. How is color being used? How is value being used? How is space being used? And make sure that you can point to it and it adds something to the work. It's not just there. Like just because an artwork has positive and negative space, is it doing anything? Like, is it helping the painting at all? And then we haven't got to the organizing principles just yet. So you can there's 2 options here. You can either leave that question 3 blank, or if you'd like to go ahead and look just like on your own research, like just Googling what the principles of design are, you can choose 2 that you feel like might work well for your paper. But I'm not requiring you to answer question 3 if you don't have an answer for it. 4, briefly state how does this work relate to its culture's history, values, politics, economy, or beliefs and practices, and think about how the art is representative of what is going on in the culture it was created. And then 5, list what the subject matter is being presented is. So basically what this outline is in this paper is wanting you to do from lesson 1. So if we look back at the slide that talked about subject matter, form, and content, that is what this paper is building us to do, is to recognize the subject matter, what we are visually looking at, not the meaning, not the interpretation, but what we are looking at, and connect that to form. And form is our elements and our principles. So looking at, how is color used? How is value used? How is space used? And then how are those organizing the artwork to be successful or not successful? And this is teaching you that artwork itself is not innately good or bad a lot of the times. It's like, you might have a quick judgment reaction just based on like, you don't like the color red, whether or not you like a piece or not. but you need to understand why a piece of artwork is successful or not successful, not because you like it or not. So that's what we're doing with this assignment is we're identifying subject matter, we're identifying form, and we're identifying content or meaning. And we're talking about how those are organized and used together to create a sense of unity within the artwork or a sense of harmony within the artwork. So that's the goal for this. If you need to break it down that way, is understanding those three things. And if we understand those three things and can apply it to different artworks, then we can successfully evaluate artwork in the way that we need to for this class. So if you have any like questions or need clarification on that at all, please let me know. But yeah, just do the best you can on this, and I will give you feedback if I feel like you need to improve on something or need to go more into detail. Make sure, please, that with the formal elements, though, that you discuss how you intend to discuss, or you talk about how you intend to discuss them. And, you know, where do you see color being used? Where do you see value being used? How do you plan on talking about it in your paper as a way of, you know, acting if this artwork is good or bad? Alrighty, so those are the three things: the quiz 2, the lesson 5 discussion, and the project outline. Again, please submit the project outline in module 2. Do not go all the way down here to the projects folder, wherever it's at, and submit it there. That's where our final version of the project will be. So you should, yeah, don't really even need to mess with that right now. I'm trying to think of anything else that went on. Oh, a couple more reminders, just like general reminders. Email is the best way to contact me always. My gaston.edu email address. I've really not had much problem with this in the past. Maybe I just have more high schoolers taking the class, but don't use it's in my email policy and the course information here. Please do not use your personal email address. And this includes your high school email address, like your Google account, probably, if you're like in Gaston County schools. It needs to be like your Microsoft account that has the mymail.gaston.edu like ending to it. And it should be like your first initial and then like your last name at mymail.gaston.edu. But I cannot respond to your personal email addresses because it's just a college policy. So I cannot respond to those. Additionally, if you call my office phone, I am in my office in like a very finite amount of time. I'm usually on campus teaching classes in person as well. So it's very rare that you're going to catch me when I am in my actual office, and it might be a few days before I get back to you. And then additionally, we've got the Blackboard Messenger that we see over here. Also, I will respond to those, but it's not going to be as timely as if I were to get an email from you. So if for any reason you do not have your email address like figured out and like, you know how to sign into it, that needs to be like a priority for you this week. Not only for my class, but for classes in general. You need to make sure that you've got access to that Gaston College email address and you're checking it like daily, especially if you've got more than one class going on at the same time. I feel like just based on a few conversations I've had this week with students that they do not have access to the email address, and that is going to definitely create a problem for you, especially later on. So that needs to be like priority number 1 for you if you don't already have your Gaston College email address credentials to sign in with. But if you have any questions about that, just let me know. But I do apologize to those that I had like 4 voicemails, I think, on my phone, which is like more than I've ever had from Thursday, and then like on Monday I answered them. So yeah, the voicemails were that all came in on Thursday and Friday and over the weekend, and I haven't been in my office since like Wednesday afternoon. This is the first time on Monday morning that I have been back in my office. So please don't use unless it's just something that doesn't need immediate attention, wouldn't call my office phone. And don't use the Blackboard Messenger, use email. That's the best way to contact me. I'll respond to you within an hour or so if you just email me. But that is all for this week. And this is a little bit longer, but we had several more assignments due for this week than we have in the previous week. So if you've got any questions or anything, please give me a email. And if you need to talk more with me, I'm happy to schedule Zoom meetings as well. That's another way that you can chat with me in person. But otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you on Monday of next week.